Morning, folks. Today's soap is brought to us by DeLuxe. This one here is out of production. You still might be able to find it at a Pastor's Pharmacy. I've got a link down below. If you're interested, it's on sale for a whole $5. So if you're interested in a great buy there, uh, here it is. This one here, 4 ounces. And scent profile, I couldn't find one, so my nose is going to be the scent profile. So yeah, it could be a bit tricky. It seems to have a lavender scent to it, maybe a little bit of talc. I'm not real sure. Uh, it was well blended. How can I say? So anyway, going with my nose, thought lavender, and was thinking that Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Lavender Cedar ought to play well with it. But my nose, I couldn't tell one way or the other what was going on with it. I've got it whipped up here in the Crown King scuttle with the Omega boar brush. This one model is like what, 20102, I think it is. It whipped it up pretty good. It's wet, but it's not drippy by any means. It's thickening up as it gets warmed up over here in the scuttle. See if I can make that brush stand up. Yesterday I mentioned a video about Gillette Old Type and how I felt that that was a fairly aggressive razor. And of all the, I guess you might say, the vintage ones I have, this one here, in my opinion, for me, is probably the most aggressive one I got in the way of DE shavers. And here it is. This particular Old Type is an open comb. This handle here is known to have cracks in it. This one here has 2 cracks in it at least. One down here towards the bottom and then one up here towards the top. And both these cracks in this particular handle are very small. Now, as it goes thin, I should say, and they're not very long. But the one of the things that you might want to be aware of is that if you find one of these and it's inexpensive, you can find at Razor Emporium, and I've got a link down below, you can find replica handles that look just like this. You can find a bronze one, I mean not a bronze one, but a brass one, or you might be able to find there's also, I think, a nickel plated one. But at any rate, in other words, you might find the one that you are needing if you already have a head that needs a handle to it that looks something similar to the original. But like I said, this one here, for me, it is a bit aggressive. I've got a Personna blade in it, and go ahead and get started. I had a hot towel to the face this morning. I'm going to go ahead and wet the face and get started with the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Ice Cube. And got a shipment in yesterday, and they also have the Christmas version of the cube. And I don't know for sure. I know this is per my nose. I don't remember seeing or smelling menthol in it. So if you're not a menthol fan, but you like the pre-shave soap, that might be something worth checking out. And yes, it is green. May have to start using it for the rest of this month, since this is the season for it. Now, how I normally do these things, if you haven't noticed already, don't necessarily follow seasons. If a seasonal scent, or if the 2 cents in between the aftershave and the soap matches, I pretty much use whatever my nose feels like, smelling of the day. Because there's times, in other words, I want to use a particular soap, but I want to use a different kind of aftershave. And I know for some folks that just, goes against the grain. But for me and my nose and how things are wired in my head, there are days that's just the way it is. And this one here, like I said, I think the two in between the soap and the aftershave will come pretty close. play, fairly well together. Is it a perfect match? No, I couldn't. The more I smell the soap and try to think of all the aftershaves I got, I don't think I have anything that'd be a perfect match, and I thought this would come relatively close. Uh, there are other lavender or violet aftershaves out there. If you have Barrister Man's Tuesday, that was another one that popped in my mind. But it is, this one here seemed to come a bit closer per my nose. And like I said, that could be a bit tricky. What my nose smells one day and what it smells the next day of the same thing, it could be quite different. All right, here we go. Gillette Old Type. Oh, I should say, I was going to mention that earlier. As it goes for, there's a stamp right up here on this particular handle that mentions the patent date of January the 13th of 1920. I also have some handles that where that stamp is down here, and if I remember correctly, I've also, I think, got one where it's at the top and bottom, if I remember right. Anyway, so don't be surprised if the patent dates and whatnot on a vintage handle like this, you won't find them, that you will find them in more than one location. But it's pretty cool. At least you can find a replica handle to go with the head, and this one here might take a few tries finding a blade that works well for you. For me, I just go with the Personna. It works as about as well as any other blade. But it's like, boy howdy, the blade feel is definitely there. In other words, it's a lot like with the fat guy on setting 9. That's what it reminds me of, and it's, to me, it's pretty darn close. See if I can not open that back up. It's right there. I'm going to try not to do that. But it is a lot of blade feel. It's efficient though. In other words, you don't get just the blade feel and not the efficiency. You get both. The soap in the container, because it's been around a moment, I'm not sure how long DeLuxe Shaving has been, I guess you might say, not producing soap. I'm wanting to say it's been at least a year, probably closer to 2 years. I think it's closer to 2. And so the soap, if you decide to get it, it's going to be a bit on the dry side. But like any other dry soap, once you add some water to it, it'll be quote unquote like new. But the scent, at least on the tub that I got, was definitely present. Scent strength on the tub that I got, I'll probably put it right in the middle. It's not overpowering by any means, but I can definitely smell it. And you can kind of tell, at least for me in the shaves that I do, it lathers up just fine. I could whip up a fluffy, nice big fluffy one, as goes for lather. I just prefer wet or something that's well moisturized with water. That kind of shaving cream works well for me, or lather I should say. But that, right now, the across the grain, it is, there's a lot of blade feel. I guess you might say, some folks may not find this too terribly comfortable. But if you're shaving every other day, that sort of routine, and looking for a vintage shaver that's efficient, this one here might want to give it a try. They're usually pretty inexpensive out there on the eBay or Etsy. They're not real expensive. You can use them, find them pretty cheap. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money on these. The brass ones are the ones I seem to gravitate to. Just they got brass with nothing on them. They don't seem to ask for a whole lot of money for them. And plus the my thinking, see, there's not hardly much, man, there's just not much left on my face to be taken off on this third pass. I like the brass because to me, if it's straight up brass, there's no in other words, there's not any silver, there's not any chrome, there's not any nickel on it. In other words, it's not quote unquote brassing, that sort of thing. In other words, this looks very natural to me, and I don't feel the urge to have it plated. It's just fine the way it is as far as I'm concerned. Yes, this shaver is very efficient. Close to the time of, I guess be what, near Thanksgiving, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements released the, what is it, the Ascension that's got the flare tips on there. I think the color of one is the gunmetal color. Then you can get the tips, so either red tip or Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements purple tip. I had ordered one. I have not tried any of the Ascension shavers from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements yet, and thought that one there would be a good one to try. And it came in yesterday along with the Preshave soap, ice cubes. And I went ahead and, what's that one, prickly pear ATG? I ordered, I've never used that Preshave, so I thought I'd give it a try. But the shaver, the Ascension came in yesterday. I think it's Ascension Select, if I remember right. Remember all the correct titling. But that razor's got some weight behind it. I do like the knurling. Felt pretty good in the hand, and the finish and fit and whatnot was pretty nice. Even comes with a nylon washer. Boy howdy, this is talking about an efficient shave. That is one thing, that's the reason why I do keep them in the dens. I do appreciate how efficient this is a very efficient razor for me. It is just awesome. By the time I get done with for me, I get done with the second pass, I don't have much left to be taking off the face. And by the time I get done, my face is very smooth. It's a very efficient razor, but I have not found a blade just yet. It'd take me probably quite a while to run through all the blades that are available to find the one that it would be a somewhat smoother shave. Because it does have me wondering, is there another blade out there that would be smoother than this one here? And Personna has always been my go-to blade. So is it a good match? It works well. I mean, I'm not no nicks, cuts, weepers, or anything of the sort, so you really can't complain too much about it. But as going through the shave, it does feel, that blade feel seems like it could be just a bit smoother. It kind of reminds me of a straight razor that's pretty edgy. And if you're looking for that smooth, comfortable, but efficient, I don't think this may be the one. At least for me, I think I've tried different blades in it and just not have any luck. Got some stinging right there. Quite a bit of stinging, matter of fact. That is one thing I haven't mastered with this shaver. Seems like every time I use it, there's always a spot that I got the pressure wrong on it by quite a bit. In other words, it's still stinging pretty good right there. Normally, if I have that sort of issue, it's over here on this side, right about there. I mean, it'll get to screaming, and or I get weepers right there. That's for me, that's always a telltale sign that I definitely got my pressure off. And or the blade just is not a good blade for me. In other words, pushing the blade too far, using it too many times, and it needed to be retired. This one here is the first time use, so that's not the case here. Just right there. I think I'll wait after after the video's over with and give it a moment or two, and if it's still kind of bothering me, I think I'll put some aftershave balm right there. Yeah, because it's still screaming. I got this aftershave a while back. If you couldn't tell, I've used a bit of it. It's one of those that works well with my nose. The lavender and the cedar, I thought, would smell pretty good, and to me it does. But if you're not liking any kind of wood mixed in with your aftershave, this one here would not be for you. I definitely pick up the cedar, but I first pick up the lavender. They seem to alternate, at least with my nose. I pick up the lavender, then the cedar, and it kind of goes back and forth. My nose doesn't pick them both up at the same time. That's my nose. I think that's probably one of the reasons why simple scents work well for my nose. Now next, cuts, weepers. Just a little bit of a spot right there. Pretty good shave overall. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and smooch A's to you.